Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to be doing a deep dive into something that I know you've been wanting to learn more about, which is this Montessori social prescribing course that's being offered. And we're really excited to kind of dig into this with you guys.
Yeah, that's right.
So are you ready to dive in?
Let's do it.
Awesome.
Right.
Okay, so Montessori social prescribing. What is it? It's this really interesting concept that combines these two seemingly disparate ideas. Montessori, which as we all know is usually associated with children's education.
Right, with classrooms full of children.
Exactly. And then social prescribing, which is more of a healthcare concept.
Yeah, it's a very interesting juxtaposition.
It is. And that's what really caught my eye. Like when I first saw the title of this course, I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, that's what piqued my curiosity as well.
Yeah. So let's talk about it. So the course description explains that Montessori principles like respect, dignity, and meaningful activity can actually be applied to elderly care, particularly for those with dementia and fragility.
Yeah, and this is a really important point. The emphasis here is on empowering individuals, not treating them like children just because they're older or have cognitive impairments.
Right. It's about recognizing their inherent worth and capabilities regardless of their age or their cognitive ability.
Exactly. It's about shifting our perspective to view dementia as a disability rather than a disease.
That's a really good point. And I love how the course description even quotes Professor Cameron J. Camp, who says, this method is about honoring a person's life experiences and providing choices based on abilities.
Right. And that really resonated with me. It's about recognizing that these individuals have lived full lives. They have experiences and skills and wisdom that we can still tap into.
Yeah. And it's about giving them choices and respecting their autonomy as much as possible.
And
So the course itself is divided into 3 sections. First section focuses on Montessori for fragility and dementia care.
then the second section delves into the role of social prescribing.
And then the third section brings those two ideas together to explore how they can be combined effectively.
Right. So it's like a step-by-step guide to understanding and implementing this approach.
Exactly.
I'm excited to see how they weave it all together.
Me too. And speaking of social prescribing, that's where this Italian project proposal comes in.
Oh, yeah. Let's talk about that. It provides a really interesting real-world context for how social prescribing can be put into action.
Yeah. So the proposal really highlights 3 key elements of the Italian context.
Okay, what are those?
First, there's this rise in fragility, particularly after the pandemic. It seems like a lot of countries are dealing with this right now.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of factors at play there.
Right. And then second, the healthcare system in Italy is facing challenges in addressing this complex issue of fragility. It's not something that's easily solved with just medication or traditional medical interventions.
Yeah.
It requires a more holistic approach.
Right. And then third, the proposal emphasizes the crucial role that community actors play in providing support.
Yeah.
It's not just about doctors and nurses. It's about everyone coming together to create a more supportive environment.
Yeah, that makes sense. So it's really about community-based care.
Exactly. And this is where the concept of humanization in healthcare comes in. The proposal really stresses the importance of going beyond just medical interventions to consider the holistic well-being of individuals.
Right. So not just treating the physical symptoms, but also addressing the social, emotional, and spiritual needs of the person.
Exactly. And the proposal actually describes a specific project which aims to bridge the gap between the healthcare system and the community.
Interesting. Tell me more about that.
So they're focusing on early intervention and multidimensional responses to fragility.
Okay, so it's about catching things early and then providing a comprehensive and individualized approach to care. Exactly.
Yeah.
I think that's a really key takeaway from this proposal. It's not just about reacting to problems. It's about being proactive and preventing them from arising in the first place.
Yeah, I like that. A much more preventative approach.
And I think that's something that we can all learn from, regardless of where we live or what our specific interests are.
Absolutely. It's about taking a more holistic and proactive approach to health and well-being in all aspects of our lives.
Exactly. Okay, so we've talked about the Montessori approach, we've talked about social prescribing, and we've seen how these ideas are being put into practice in Italy. But how did this all connect back to this Montessori social prescribing course?
Yeah. And this ESPIS project, it isn't just like some random Italian thing. It actually ties into this bigger trend that we're seeing globally, and especially in Europe, towards this concept of social prescribing. Basically, the idea is to connect people with resources and activities that aren't medical, but that can help them with their overall health and well-being. And these resources and activities are usually within their own community.
Okay. Yeah, it seems like this concept is really gaining traction around the world. And it's not just staying in the realm of theory either, because here in Italy, it's actually started to be integrated into healthcare policies.
Oh, really? So give me some examples. How are they doing that?
Well, the proposal mentioned things like the prevention plan and the reform of territorial assistance, which both seem to be paving the way for a more community-based approach to care.
Okay, so it's like they're moving away from this reactive system where you wait until someone's sick to intervene, and instead they're trying to create a more proactive system that focuses on prevention and overall well-being.
Exactly. And that's where I think the connection between social prescribing and the Montessori approach becomes really powerful,
Hmm.
because they both share this emphasis on empowerment and fostering independence.
Okay, I see what you mean. So how do those specific Montessori principles actually play out when you're working with older adults, particularly those with dementia?
Well, remember those core principles we talked about earlier: respect, dignity,
Yeah.
meaningful activity.
Yeah.
Now imagine applying those principles to the process of social prescribing.
Okay, so instead of just randomly referring someone to any activity, it's about carefully choosing activities that align with their individual needs and interests and abilities.
Exactly. Just like the Montessori teacher would do with a child.
So, for example, if someone used to love gardening, you might connect them with a community garden where they can participate at their own pace.
Or maybe someone was a skilled cook.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a local bakery that would be happy to have them come in and help out with some simple tasks.
Yeah, it's about finding those sparks of joy and purpose, even in the midst of cognitive decline. It really highlights the power of interdisciplinary thinking and finding inspiration in these unexpected places. And ultimately, it's about improving the lives of elderly individuals and creating a more compassionate and supportive society for everyone.
Absolutely. I mean, really makes you think, huh? Especially for those of you out there who are already interested in this Montessori social prescribing course, like I was saying earlier.
Yeah. If you're passionate about making a difference in the lives of older adults, this approach gives you some really practical tools and a whole new way of looking at things.
It's not just about helping people live longer, but about helping them live better, right?
Exactly.
Adding life to those years, not just years to their life. And just imagine if we could create a world where aging isn't seen as this scary decline, but as a chance to keep growing and keep finding meaning in life.
That's the beauty of this whole approach. It recognizes that we can keep developing and finding fulfillment throughout our entire lives.
And keep in mind, this deep dive has just been a taste, right? We've just scratched the surface.
Yeah, we've just been skimming the surface.
The course itself goes way deeper into the details,
Yeah.
like how to actually apply these ideas in practice, and the research that backs it all up.
It's really an invitation to join this movement. That's changing the way we think about aging and care.
So before we wrap up, I want to leave you with one last thought. What other areas could benefit from this Montessori-inspired approach? Could we use these principles in education or healthcare or even social justice? It's something to think about as you keep learning and exploring.
And if you're ready to take that next step, you can visit www.montessori-4-life.org to find out more about the Montessori social prescribing course. Who knows? It might just be the thing that sparks a passion for positive change in your life.
So that's it for this deep dive into Montessori social prescribing. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you back here soon for another exciting journey into the world of knowledge.